Ambassador, President Trump went into Qatar already having gotten something he apparently really wanted, a fancy plane. Plus, he and his family, we know, have major business interests in Qatar. But what are the nation's interests there? What does the U.S. get out of anything potentially in terms of its relationship with Qatar and what they might offer America?
Well, there's a lot of aggravation for the American public. First of all, on the downside, Qatar has been hosting for many years the Hamas political leadership and has provided an enormous amount of money to that terrorist organization, notwithstanding American protests to the contrary. Also, it has been a supporting country of the Taliban. And finally, there's been millions, if not billions of dollars that Qatar has dispatched to universities around the country to promote a ideological Qatari-based Muslim Brotherhood theology on campuses that have contributed to the incitement of violence after the 2023 attack by Hamas against Israel. Now, on the positive side, Qatar has been involved in serving as a mediator in trying to secure a ceasefire. It also hosts the largest Air Force base for the United States in the Middle East. But I take Qatar as in a situation for any American diplomat, it is not the glass half full, it is the glass half empty. It is constantly trying to buy, not just from the president, but from the American people influence, mostly to the bad, not to the good.
Ben, I'm told that the president just called the emir of Qatar a tall, handsome guy as part of those remarks as we watch them now get up from the desk and move on to whatever's next on the president's agenda. And so I'm wondering what you're thinking watching all of this, Ben. What could Qatar be seeking in return from the U.S. on this trip after giving the president a jet, after being called tall and handsome?
Well, I think Qatar is playing the same game that the Saudis and the Emiratis are playing. In fact, they're the smaller Gulf Arab country, and they're looking around and they're saying, well, how do you do business with Trump? And they saw Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, go to Saudi Arabia after the first Trump term and get $2 billion for his investment fund. And that was not an investment from the Saudis and Jared Kushner's investment acumen, right? That was an investment in the Trump family. They saw Trump's family go to the United Arab Emirates, where he'll be tomorrow, and get hundreds of millions, I think billions of dollars of investment in Trump's new crypto enterprises that directly benefits the Trump family. So this is how business is done with Trump, and this is how the kind of transactionalism works in a part of the world where there's obviously tremendous money from oil and gas wealth. And so I think what's so notable about this, obviously, the gift of Air Force One would be a different level in terms of its what it symbolizes and in terms of its proximity to the president. But actually, I think the real story here is that it's not unusual that essentially all these governments have taken the measure of Trump, and they're like, well, the way to do business with him is how we do business, by the way, with other corrupt countries around the world. This is not a new element of interaction in this part of the world. What's new about it is that the president of the United States is for sale. The family of the president of the United States is for sale. It's the United States which controls the world's largest military, which has Air Force bases in Doha, which has military bases across this region. And so I think that's, I'm not surprised Qatar is doing this, and they're not alone in doing it. And that's actually what I think should be so alarming to people, is the normalization of corruption at the highest levels with a seemingly infinite amount of money. What they want in return is they want security. They want their interests protected. They don't want to be criticized for human rights violations, whether you're Mohammed bin Salman or whether you're the governor of Qatar. They're going to want things in the future from the United States. They want technology from the United States. So, of course, there's a quid pro quo here. And I think the lesson to these governments and to governments, other governments around the world, too, is that this is how you do business with Trump. You pay him directly.
And as Kelly pointed out, though, Trump wasn't always like this. I mean, when you look back to his campaign prior to his first term, he was saying things that were more in alignment of what we'd hear from an American president. And of course, there's also been during this trip a notable about face on U.S. policy in Syria. Kelly, We now know the U.S. is planning to lift sanctions on that country. This president met with the new Syrian leader this morning. How did all that come about?
Well, that was also a part of the influence of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and the president of Turkey, President Erdogan. Our president, has spoken to those leaders, and they exerted some influence on him to say that the Bashar al-Assad regime is over. It has been deposed, and now there's a new time and a new opportunity for the president to have a new relationship. And so he has said that he would agree to lift sanctions and is urging the new Syrian regime to look at some things that are important, like helping the United States prevent the rise of ISIS again, taking control of its own prisons there where the U.S. has had influence. It's a real shift. Here is a bit of how the president addressed the leader, the new leader that he met briefly on the sidelines, as they say, back in Saudi Arabia.
Young, attractive guy, tough guy, strong pass, very strong pass fighter.
Does that worry you
But
at all?
he's got a real shot at pulling it together.
A little difficult to hear there, at least it was for me, but he was describing the leader and talking about him as having an attractive future, being an attractive young man. And so that gives you a sense, again, of the personal quotient that President Trump puts into all of these relationships. How does he interact with that leader? What is his relationship? And then by extension, what it means for the United States. Anna?
The president did give quite a lot of credit to the Saudi Crown Prince for this shift on Syria. In fact, take a listen to what he said.
After discussing the situation in Syria with the Crown Prince, your Crown Prince, and also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day, I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness. Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince.
Ambassador, your reaction. What kind of influence might MBS have had?
Oh, complete influence on this. This was not in the cards before this trip began, and there's no doubt this was the type of quid pro quo. MBS wants to see, along with other Arab states, major efforts to try to reconcile the situation in Syria to avoid another Islamist upheaval in the country. And this is the best chance for those of us who follow the Middle East to give al-Shar the chance that he needs and getting a boost from the United States, because it's not just the United States, but it's also the European Union that is also lifting sanctions. So he's getting a good dose of support from the Arab world, the United States, and Western Europe, and it's in our best interest to see him succeed.
So if it is in the U.S. best interest, it's still, how do you square that then with the past, with this new president, Ahmed al-Sharaa, who not long ago the U.S. had a $10 million bounty on? He fought against the U.S. as a bona fide member of al-Qaeda in Iraq. Do you see any risks to this shift in policy involving Syria, Ben?
Yeah, there are risks, but look, I'm going to say this is the right call. I don't think that it was necessarily arrived at after careful consideration. The reality is the risks are if he ends up being an extremist leader, you can put those sanctions back on. Having them in place when they were put in place to deal with Assad, having those sanctions in place would make it impossible for Syria to rebuild, impossible for anybody to invest $1 in that country, impossible for people who are Syrians who are in places like Europe who want to go home to get back there. So I think you have to try this. So I support this. The question, though, is how do you make decisions in the White House? And the message that Trump is broadcasting, he's saying, like, I wasn't going to do this, and then MBS told me to do it. That's the problem. The problem is you should have a National Security Council and a U.S. government that makes a process set up to make a decision like this. You don't tell the world, I'm doing this because this person who controls trillions of dollars of wealth just asked me to, and of course I'm going to do what he says. That's the wrong way to announce what I think is the right decision in this case.
Ben Rhodes, Ambassador Mark Ginsburg, thank you so much for your expertise, for sharing your knowledge of the region and these matters with us. Kelly O'Donnell, thank you for the reporting.